Well, number B is a weird question. Is that?
Ready when you are.
It's all set? Okay, so we'll go ahead and call the Commission for Motor Vehicles for hire together today, Wednesday, the 22nd, at about 3 after 9. First item on the agenda is public input. Nada? Okay. And I don't think we have any new correspondence, do we?
Yeah.
Okay, so we just need to review and act on the minutes from September 17th. I went over and didn't see any issues.
No, that's great.
I'll make a motion that we approve those minutes.
A second.
All in favor?
All right.
Okay, next is discuss and act on taxi tour and regulations, okay? So well, we were talking about, is there gonna be any changes to the tours themselves and anything like that? And did we even come up with anything else?
No, it was discussing
Yeah.
to be discussed.
And I think most of it centered around, some of the ways that have been added, like with Christine and stuff like that. So, and scheduling, I think, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And I kind of see the need to be able to schedule something if you're coming from off island, you're coming from far away, that sort of thing, and you want to have something done. And then, in the past, I know when I first came out to the island 30 plus years ago, I did do a tour with Helen and with my parents were with me, and that was a walk-up thing, but that was an experience in and of itself. So
I don't know, I'm not feeling that great today, just so you know.
Well, go ahead.
No, I'll go.
The discussion came up 2 months ago with Christine and Peter Pan Taxi because of the prearranging of multiple tours to be divided into one. I don't know if I'm saying this right. Do you guys understand?
Aggregated.
Yeah. As we discussed, what the wordage in our regulations, we discussed that a job means a job, taxi job and or a tour job as in being the same, in that there was no multiple tour groups together. We voted upon that.
okay.
She couldn't put tour groups together, right? And bring them at a discounted price. Yeah, could you? Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I'm not. Speaking-
9 o'clock in the morning.
Thank you.
So if you remember, the history of this was that before my, going back to the winter, I had to advertise, I had to make a decision about how I was going to advertise for my business. And I'm still in the same situation now for next year. That's why I'm here. To understand I went to the ordinances and I saw that it did not say specifically that a tour is under the same guise as taxi fares. I guess the crux comes down to, is a fare for a tour? I know what's been done in past practice, and that it was one fare per cab, unless it's really busy, and then you can double up. In the regulations, it does not say that specifically, because our regulations have not really morphed into modern time. So before my season began, the taxi commission called me before I put my taxi on the road to say, what are you doing? Are you going to do this? And then you asked the lawyer, and the lawyer said, there's nothing in the regulations that says she can't do it, but we're going to bounce it back to you, the commission, to talk about it and make your decision. And you made the decision that you would continue the practice as it stands or the past practice. So at that meeting, I went through my summer and I didn't double up, and I think my business benefited, the advertising benefited other businesses because I was able to give out a lot of tours, or some tours. And so now we're at the point where I asked a letter now that it's the fall, whether to, look into the ordinances, to change the ordinances to reflect a new model that is more modern in, 2025, that people, before they go on vacation, they want to book a tour online. And they also don't want to pay for two people $100 when they could fill up my they could go on a group tour. So the thing is I'm trying to change the industry to make it so that there would be a way for the consumer to be able to pre-book tours, not have to sit at the hot spot in the hot sun. I mean, I guess they could call a cabbie now and pre-book a tour, but also make it more convenient for the consumer to be able to go on a group tour and have that option. Also, it would cut down on congestion. And I understand because, the cab drivers are my people and my friends too, and I understand their worry. So I'm coming to you before you for a compromise, only for this system to happen in July and August, when the cabbies are stretched, they're making money, taking people back and forth. I know that they were worried about this taken away from their business, but honestly, it adds to their business if they really look at it, because I get putting out a lot of advertising, giving them tours. And also I have the Chamber of Commerce. I've talked to them and they believe that it is something that is good for our town as well. We have the Chamber representative here as well. It is something that's needed now and at the convenience of the public. And a compromise would be July and August. And does that help? That's the situation as I see it.
Yeah, but I can ask you to clarify, what are you proposing as a possible compromise?
That you would have one taxi, I just put it as the strictest, you can go anywhere you want, but to not cut into other people's business to the extreme, to not have everybody be able to do it. You come up with just like you have a limousine license that no one ever really used before, now you could come up with a license that would allow a cabbie, which would be me, because maybe, I don't know, that would allow a cabbie to do tours in the summer in July and August that are full. So I'm not driving around with two people twice a day. That there's a need for it, and my cab holds 11 people. Why can't I lessen congestion and have that, for one thing? That's a big deal. And then also have the convenience of other people. Look, I'm going to Puerto Rico in 2 months. Do you think I want to get in Puerto Rico and go sit in a taxi stand and find a taxi? No, no one wants to do that. People don't want to do it here either. They don't want to have the unknown. They want to know the known. They want to know someone who has a lot of recommendations on TripAdvisor. This is a modern times, and our system has to go with it. That's all I have to say.
Thanks, Christine.
Now, I've been on here a long time, but realizing that I am not a taxi driver or anything like that, and what's that?
Not yet.
Anyway, so, when I do go on vacation, I do take tours, okay? And it's usually on quite often a bigger vehicle. And when you sign up, you do sign up in advance for it, or from your hotel or something like that. But, it's usually not just for 2 or 3 people, it's for a group. And it is something that's scheduled and everything. So from that point of view, as a non-taxi driver, I can see where this is coming from. And the idea of doing it maybe in July and August when it's so busy, that's not a bad compromise. That's just my thought. I don't know that we need a new license for it. We need to change things a little bit, that's all.
Well, I mean, we kind of already do that. Like if we're there and these 2 people want a tour, 2 more people walk up and want a tour, and no one, anybody here want to do a tour? No, well, we can go together. 3 more people. Sorry about my phone. I don't know how to do that. So as the need be, we've kind of already handled that. I really don't like the idea of one cab being able to do it. I think that
Well, I think it would be anyone that wants to do it, but I also think that specifically this is just me, doing a tour, if someone wants to book it now for next summer because they've got a home rental or something like that, or if they've never been to the island, they're coming from France or somewhere like that, you go out, you go out and look and see what's available and you reserve it.
Well,
Because when you try to do it last minute, you don't necessarily get what you want to get. So
okay, you can still do that because there are people that advertise like Oceanside and other people. And people do call and say, can I do a tour next week, or can I do it? And you can book it that way.
Right.
You know, they know the price, they book it.
Y-
And if I have two, then I get someone else to.
Yeah,
Busy.
I don't think the question is pre-booking the tour. I think the question is aggregating different groups into the tour.
Yeah, but again, my point was, this is just my point, is that when I've been away doing it, it's not just for my wife and I, and
Right,
son.
right,
It's,
right.
you know, it's all of us at this table that happen to want to do the same tour. And it happens to be something that's scheduled at 10 o'clock on Friday the 5th or whatever, and that's how it gets worked.
Right.
And if it just happens to be two people, you're still paying whatever the rate is.
Right.
And maybe it's an individual type rate, not a tour rate, if you will, something like that. I don't know, because it's the same, you're not paying more if there's less people when you get on one of those book tours. It's the same price.
Right.
Well, for here it is, but not somewhere else. Okay, that, what I'm talking about, my previous experience is that, it's $50 or whatever,
Per
you get your
person,
tour
that's it.
per person, that's it. Doesn't matter if there's 10 people, doesn't matter if there's one person, that's what it is.
But I think Christine is saying, I mean, I don't even know how you would tell somebody what that price is. Like if two people call, it's $100, and then two people, and then when you call them back and say, oh, now it's gonna be 50?
You just tell them that it's open, it's like Uber, Uber share, it's a ride service on the mainland, you don't know how much your price is until that's what, you sign on for that, and you explain it to us.
I'm sorry, could I interrupt you? Uber share, so you jump into another Uber with somebody else going to the same location?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? At a discounted price?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Way over.
Gotcha, thank you. I didn't know that existed.
No, it seems like we already have two vehicles that do tours on a prearranged basis, and they're buses. One of the bus licenses is not being used. Maybe Christine should get the bus license. Then you can fill up the bus with as many people as you want. Well, you can get a driver for your taxi, and then you can have the bus.
So like your people,
Yeah.
I guess they can.
Yeah. So if she wants to be doing it that way, by filling up her car, she can get the bus license, which is already designated to do that.
Can I just make one comment? I do know that, just based on my experience, there were a lot, that's not exaggeration, of tours that did not go this summer because no one wanted them.
But you're saying the idea of having something in July and August is not necessarily a bad idea, is that what you're trying to say?
No, I guess I'm just trying to say that, there were many times over the summer, when there were people waiting, and it was a party of two, and, people didn't want to take them because it wasn't worth they felt that as busy as it was, like, it wasn't worth their time.
Hi, I just wanted to add on to that. I'm Ann Salinas. My first time here, and I live on Corneck Road. I've been working with the Visitors Center this past summer, and now working with the Chamber of Commerce in a consultant role. And just to add that from what we've seen in the Visitors Center, that does happen relatively frequently. Two things happen. One is people show up here, we tell them about the island tours, they go to the taxi stand, and they either don't find someone available to take them, or they don't find other people who can, if it's a single person, they don't want to pay $100 for just one person. So they abandon that idea and find another way of seeing the island, which is quite limited if you're not able to take a bike or don't want to take a moped. So the other thing is we get a lot of people calling in advance about their visit and wanting to know if they can book tours, what island tours are available. So there is definitely a demand for this, and I don't think in July and August it would necessarily impact anyone else's business because there is such a high demand that's not being met fully. So that's just sharing our experience from the Visitor Center.
So it sounds like that there are options for tours in the summer, that some of the taxis aren't doing tours in the summer, which we've always had this issue.
Always been an issue.
Always been an issue. There's the issue of pre-arranging a tour isn't the problem, isn't the
Right.
issue at all.
It's the multiple.
It's the multiple. It's the fare upon fare upon affair. I didn't hear too many problems about monies this summer. $100 for an hour of hour and 15 minutes of somebody's time for one, it's not a terrible price. I think it's a good deal for a tour. Up to 4 people, $100, that's a steal. That's my opinion right there. That's your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it varies on who you're talking to.
Sure.
You know, personally, for $100 for one person, I'd say no way. Okay, where if it's 25 or 50, I'd probably say yes. Okay, just personally. Okay, but again, that's, you know, it's I think what we're discussing, and it's something that I don't think you can make a decision today, but it'd have to be done fairly soon. You know, the idea of a compromise of July and August for something like that's not a bad compromise, because it is an issue, and it's always been an issue. You know, as long as I've been here on this commission, and even before I was on it, where, you know, I was a member of the chamber or you know, as a hotelier trying to get something set up. You usually could get something set up on the hotel, but it was on a very specific time frame when ferries aren't coming in, that sort of thing, and you know, how many people is it, that sort of thing too. So and when you're at the hotel, it's easy to combine. You just do it, you know. So I got 4 people, I got 6 people, whatever, or I got 1. You know, and if for one, usually it didn't work. Okay, you know, I think it's something that we should seriously consider and take, you know, make some guidelines on.
I mean, we have 32 individual taxi companies. I'm not sure who takes reservations or prearranged tours or rides. I have no idea.
Right.
But I would assume 32 of them do. And that's how it should be. They could be booked for the summer, for the whole summer, and not take one. You know? So when something like this happens, we change what we're doing and how we're doing it. Well, Peter Pan is booked for that day fully. Now, does it get pushed onto the next cab? Does it push onto the next cab? We've got multiple groups who want tours. Now, does the chamber handle that? Or does Peter Pan continue to handle that?
I mean, the
You
chamber
know?
has never been.
It's
That's
not really
never
part of
been
the program.
It's not their job description, and usually was, here's a list of, and usually it's centered around in the past, getting a taxi, go protect a hotspot, get your
Sure.
taxis. But you know, and tours, well, go up there and you can try and coordinate a tour on your own. We don't do that.
Sure.
Okay.
But
and-
they could also call one of the 32 taxis or members of the chamber, I should say, and get that going prearranged at some other point. It doesn't have to be time up, right direct.
Generally, I would do, the model that I'm proposing, would be, you know, maybe I would do multiple tours, you know, it wouldn't be just one day at one, unless you said that I could only do one a day, which I could, you're in that. Another thing, you could do this for, you know, a trial basis, 1 year, you know, it's not like, it doesn't have to be forever. Another thing is that, generally speaking, yeah, I was handling it. I was amazingly booked. So I would filter out my tours to other people. And I definitely other people benefited from mine. So I took care of those people. I wasn't going to not take care of them. And that's what made me be very persistent with this, is I was like, oh my God, if I wasn't giving these people, finding these people tours, how would they find them? I honestly was doing that. And I think some of people benefited from them. And I don't know.
I know they did. I know they benefit. Thank you, Christine. That's my issue, though. If you get too far involved, things are going to start falling through the cracks, you know, and they're going to be waiting for that tour that they signed up for, and they don't know who to talk to.
Yeah,
At
well,
the
that's
time,
how
huh?
it is now, honestly. It's crazy.
So-
The system is like very unfriendly to an elderly couple who doesn't, never been here before.
Sure.
They're just like, they're not gonna match with somebody else. They wanna.
Christine, if you're gonna speak. Sorry.
Sorry.
I mean, honestly, you gotta just think about the real human beings that are doing this. You get, you know, I've done this before, I've said this before to you, but you get an elderly couple coming up, they're not very mobile, they didn't pre-book, they don't know about things, they come here and they're told to just wait and we'll match you up, don't worry. All right, somebody's coming from the west side, it confuses them, it just gives them a bad taste at the beginning. If they had the ability to go on my website, read my reviews, know that I'm a reputable person, book with me ahead of time, and have some sense of guarantee, even though I don't take their money ahead because boat schedules change and things like that. I give them the spiel, tell them who I am. We've already set up a relationship. If not, they get to the taxi stand and they go in with anybody else, even though we all reputable people, you know, in the history of the world, there could be someone who doesn't give the greatest tour, you know, or is not nice to them and doesn't give them recommendations. It's a whole different feel if you know who you're getting a taxi tour from.
But in your case, if I'm understanding, these are people that are contacting you beforehand before they get to the island, right?
Oh, yeah, this would never be, my system would, what I'm proposing.
The old couple coming off that doesn't know where they're going.
No, but a lot of our elderly people are pretty savvy on the internet.
Yeah.
So they would, you know, yes, it's true that wouldn't necessarily work for those people who are just coming off the street. And I won't take them off the street. You know, this is all prearranged people who I could, yeah, and I'm the contact. But if there was nothing, if they didn't, through advertising, and through recommendations through TripAdvisor and Yelp, people can read. So it gives them an option to read that they are going on a reputable tour.
Yeah.
Well, I feel that it's you know, the environment, it's a hostile environment. I really don't feel that way. I think all the drivers, most of the drivers will get out and talk to the people and say there's a big long line. They could say, you know, you could have your lunch now and come back in half an hour and do a tour. And sometimes people connect with you and they want to do the tour with you.
And that's still available to you. This proposal is not negating that.
Right, it's the pre-scheduling is available for anybody who wants to
Right.
accept a pre-schedule.
Yeah.
We do that too, we do the same thing.
And you were saying, you know, you give out the tours you can't do, well, so do we. You know, it's, we all do kind of the same thing.
Well, yeah, but get the impression, this originally started because of an ad that was out there too. Okay, and I like the idea of being able, if I were coming down, have something that's advertised, I can call them or contact the chamber and they put me in touch with someone specifically for a tour. Okay, not anything else, not taxis or anything like that, but specifically for tours. And in Christine's case, that's where more of her focus seems to be. That's my impression. I'm not, you know, I don't know for a fact, but, and I don't really have a problem with that. I think the compromise of doing something like that, the multiple fairway in July and August is a reasonable compromise, maybe for one season, see how it works too. I don't think that's a big ask.
All the taxis could do it.
I do feel like
They would have to-
Anyone could do it, yeah.
But
So-
you have to double up on tours.
On tours specific,
Tours.
yeah,
And
okay.
every book,
Yeah, I think that's a fair compromise to try. That's just me. So, Judy, you have to come up because we're online now.
Play on the boat about taxis and tours
Well, about
and let
Thursday.
them know that we're at the top of the hill. You could put out numbers if you wanted to. There's lots of ways to be able to get that taken
Sure.
care of, so they're not uncomfortable.
Right.
Those old people.
What about tours being only prearranged?
What do you
No
mean?
walk-ups. You have to have a prearrangement.
No,
I don't think that.
no.
I just threw it out there.
Would you do that?
Well, you just said that's how you operate when you go other places.
If I want to do, well, the hotel or someone else puts me in touch with it, yes. But I don't think I've ever gone to an office and say, can I book a tour? No. That goes against better business practices.
Who would say no?
We just said, if you don't have a book, the answer is no. That's the way.
No walk-ups, only prearranged. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but a walk-up, by the nature of a destination location, you're gonna get walk-ups. Now, I don't know how many it's gonna be, but this is,
I threw it out there.
I mean, I would be shocked if someone said no to me. Just as a consumer, I'd say, well,
We're getting it all.
yeah, I mean, I had a situation this past weekend at a certain location where, you know, they had to sit in a certain location, you know, 'cause they couldn't be somewhere else, and I had to make that exception for somewhere else. They got upset and left, and I said, well, hey, you know, that's what it is. Okay, and it immediately fill back up too. But I don't say no to them. I might say no to what they might request, something like that, so.
Is anybody waiting in line for food? For other things on the island? People sometimes have to wait, and that's just
No
the way it is.
No
So
question.
the waiting part, I understand it's not comfortable for people when they want to go on a tour. They get a little irritated if you're not right there and taking
Or
them.
they may say, as you said, it's okay, well, it's not, it's every hour on the whole, or it's at 2 o'clock or something like that. I mean, that's an answer that.
We
they can
tried that
accept.
one year
So-
of doing a 9 and a 2.
No, I don't mean that. I'm just
Oh.
saying, you give someone that option, then it's their choice, is what I'm
Right.
saying. Any suggestions?
I don't love the idea of multiple groups together, but I see there's a need, and I'm willing to go along with a trial run. Yeah. June and July and August. I mean, that would be available for all taxis to do.
Right, not specific, on a tour only basis,
Right.
not a taxi basis.
I feel like
Okay.
we're gonna be backtracking again, but it is what it is. Yeah. It's always a work in progress, I suppose.
Is this something that would require us to change our regulations, or is it something we could do?
Let me, yeah, let me chew on that, for, for a moment, or, another week or so. I'll get back to you. I'll also consult with the attorney,
Yeah.
and we'll see whether you,
Would it be possible to do specifically allow multiple combination of fare riders for tours only in the month of July and August
okay,
for a one season trial run?
I have a question. If this is going into, regulations and so forth, is there going to need to be a posted price list? In other words, this is the tour price for one person, for two
Well,
people, for three people?
Then we'll question of is it possible first?
Sure.
Let's not put the cart before the
Sure.
horse.
Okay.
And we already have regulations on pricing. We're not talking about, we haven't gotten into that one. That's opening up a whole new can. But the question is, as it stands right now with our rates, is that something that's feasible?
okay. So, just for clarification, we're talking about, allowing grouped tours or more than multiple
Multiple person.
person. Yeah. Okay. So,
Multiple parties.
and the advertising is something that's already allowed. As I understand it, I just wanted to make sure that I'm,
It's just pre-booking multiple tours.
so pre-booking.
Right.
Okay. But anyone can pre-book now, right?
What's that?
You
But
can
you-
pre-book now.
Yeah. So it doesn't, I don't think the pre-booking really, so we just want to be allowing multiple groups
Right.
to
Yeah.
join.
But I
Okay.
think, didn't we decide that the advertisement was not allowed to say that multiple and?
Well, that one-
Unless it
that's
becomes
discussed.
allowed.
We have to talk to find out if it's even possible to do it for one season.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure we can do it. We just have to figure out the appropriate way to do it. Okay, so whether it's
So
an
we'll make
ordinance
the decision
change.
right now, so we'll make sure this is on. As soon as you hear something back, Millie, if you could get back in touch with us.
Yeah, of course I
we'll go
will.
From there.
Yep.
Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not that I'm telling you anything, but it just, the premise was that it would be pre-booked. So the people who come up to the taxi stand, just piling in 5 people off the street, I just don't think that that's what you want, I don't think that. And so I think you need to be clear about what your pre-booked is,
Well, that's.
if it came to that, yeah.
Just also for clarification, so this would be a pre-booked, for pre-booked. Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, next item on the agenda is the, where are we? Discuss and act on limiting the number of motor vehicle for hire taxi licenses issued So right now we have a set number, and you're not taking a license away from anyone. The question is, would we, if someone gives up a license, is there currently a need to not fill that license, so you have less licenses? And that's something everyone has to be informed with, because there are people on a wait list too. So I think Judy's the one that brought this up in a correspondence with us. So there are quite a number of taxis out there now, along with lots of other vehicles out there too, so.
Well, I think we've always done that, on and off, added, subtracted.
We have,
that kind of thing. And right now, I think with the whole shuttle situation, I think
Maybe
we
we-
don't need to,
Don't need to have more or need less.
Or we really wait until it comes up and then we decide.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, one might not come up for a couple of years and things might
Yeah,
be
it's not gonna
different.
be
And
like COVID,
that,
it's like
that would require an ordinance change though, because you have a set number of licenses in the ordinance. So
Right.
you would need to do, and that of course takes a couple of months.
But I think we've
to
done
go through
that.
the process. Yeah, absolutely. And the way that it has been done in the past is, you guys take action, it goes to the council. They approve the ordinance to lower the number, whatever
Yeah.
that might be. And
Yeah.
then we just don't, they just,
Fill it because
yeah,
it's bad.
yeah, through attrition.
Cause it's gone up and it's gone down over. the
Right,
years.
exactly. So it's just attrition that takes care of that.
I just have a question, like a point of order, and Millie, you could, so the agendas are the agendas and the correspondence of the correspondence. And my thing about, transparency in government is that you read the does the public have the right to understand the correspondence? So there's no mechanism unless you read them out loud. Like, is there?
At this point, we don't have any correspondence.
Yeah.
Um,
that's why-
But you had my correspondence, didn't you?
We did have your correspondence, and everyone had read it, and we asked it, do we need to read it?
Okay, that's
we-
fine.
we don't-
But you had referenced a correspondence from Judy, and I didn't know if it was particular to this meeting,
It
a
was-
previous meeting.
at a previous meeting,
Awesome.
She said, I think there's too many licenses. I don't have a copy of the.
Okay, I just didn't see it on our agenda that there was any correspondences that you were,
When we get correspondence, we say, do we need to read this? It's not
Okay.
always read, but, so in case of Judy's, we did.
okay, perfect, that's all. I didn't know if there was any correspondences that.
We would never not read it if everyone wanted to know what it is. Okay, so there's no action necessary on that. Okay, then, discuss an act increasing limit capacity from 12 to 15 passengers. We talked about this last month. I think that, again, this is my personal opinion, I don't think a limo should I think they should be able to have the same number of people as a taxi or something like that. I don't have a problem.
I don't have a problem with it. As I said before, I picture limousines as being classic limousines, not these SUVs, but the trends are changing. So, it is what it is.
They seem to be more of those on
Absolutely,
England now
absolutely.
because they don't make
When I
classic limousines.
When I say limousine, I picture a Lincoln Town Car or a Cadillac,
But now you
not
see-
an Escalade.
Now you see Escalade. ones,
Absolutely,
so-
absolutely. Yep. So,
Okay, all right.
yeah, I'm fine. with
That are
that.
custom cut and built. But anyway, so I'll make a motion that we increase the limousine capacity from 12 passengers to 15 for the limousine licenses.
So 15, because that's how many you have?
No, we're not gonna go over the capacity. but-
Okay, are the taxis 14?
Is there a second for the motion, and then we have a discussion after?
Yes, I'll second.
Okay. Okay, now the discussion. We haven't voted.
Oh, you haven't voted. Okay, well, I'm just wondering why 15, because I thought it was 14, the cab.
15.
15 including the driver? Is that including the driver? 15.
You said? All right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, that passes. All right, next is discussion on discussion of alcohol permitted by limousines. So this is something we proposed, went to the town lawyer through Millie, and he did give us,
I'm sorry. Just for clarification on the last motion, that is a recommendation that's going to then go to the council for a ordinance change.
yes,
Okay, so this isn't, I just want to make it clear that this action doesn't necessarily
I
make
mean, you
it,
can go to 15. It's
you
gotta be.
can't go to
approved by the
15.
town.
It starts it through the process. Okay. Thank you.
And we're saying that we agree with it and want to put it to the town council. Okay.
Now,
Now,
can I just interrupt 1 second? Because it already says 15 on the taxi rate, does it have to be changed? I'm just curious. I just, instead of going down that road, if we don't have to. Sorry,
it does say it on the
it
packet.
does say it.
It's limos say of no more than 12.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
All right. All right, and then again, the next one is this alcohol consumption being permitted in limousines. Okay, and this is something that was put forward to the town lawyer through Millie based on our questions and everything. And I think what I'll do is just read the responses from the lawyers, probably the easiest. The question was regarding serving alcohol or consuming alcohol in a limousine. What are the laws and rules regarding alcohol in limousines? And it refers to Rhode Island General Law 33-22-21, Part 1, which basically it says, yes, alcohol consumption allowed in limousines as long as the person is over 21 years old, again, referencing the same law. And then, would alcohol in limousines be controlled by state rules and regulations? State law allows alcohol, this is the response. State law allows alcohol in limousines, but the operators cannot provide the alcohol. The consumer may bring in the alcohol pursuant to RIGL 3322-21.1. Is it necessary or advisable to create local regulations regarding alcohol in limousines? It appears that Rhode Island general law covers this area of the law. Further regulation is not necessary, does not appear to be necessary. Next question, does alcohol need to be provided and controlled by the delivery service, or is it the responsibility of the customer, I'm sorry. Alcohol should be provided by the consumer, not delivery service. That is likely a gray area, but a delivery service operator should not be providing alcohol to customers. That opens up a whole series of potential issues. And again, the operator of a rented limousine or bus is not subject to all Rhode Island general laws 3122-21.1. Presence of alcoholic beverages while operator of a motor vehicle. C, which is basically, the operator of a rented license or limousine is not subject to the provisions of this section, provided neither the operator or the passenger is under the age of 21, is in possession of any unsealed alcoholic beverage container. And let's see, I guess the specifics on that is paragraph A is no person shall operate a motor vehicle upon public highways with any unsealed alcoholic beverage container within a passenger section of a vehicle. B, any person found in violation of this section may be fined not more than $200 or have his or her driver's license suspended for up to 6 months or both for the first violation. Each subsequent violation may be fined not more than $500 or have his or her license suspended for up to a year or both. But again, what this does say is that the operator of a limousine and or bus service, if I'm reading this correctly, is not subject to that specific law. So you can have alcohol in a limousine. You cannot provide it, okay? And, I guess while you're not in control of it, you kind of got to be watched somehow.
Control of it, as everybody who roams around town.
That's, you have to come up to set the.
Can I ask about B? Is alcohol consumption allowed in limos governed by the motor vehicle for hire? And the answer is yes. Is that what that says?
It says that we have to that it's covered under Rhode Island general law, that it is allowed in.
But is alcohol consumption allowed in limos governed by motor vehicle for hire?
And
it says yes.
yes,
So that means we can say no.
no, because
Right.
it says, yes, alcohol consumption is allowed in limousines,
But that's not the question.
but it doesn't matter. The answer is, it is allowed in limousines according to Rhode Island general law.
But our
But
limo,
it's answering the question, is alcohol consumption allowed in limos governed by the motor vehicle for
The
hire?
answer is yes.
And the answer is yes, so that means we can govern.
I feel like that was probably read in a way that is alcohol consumption allowed in limousines, which you guys govern. I think that you're reading, I think that it's being read in
In other
two
words,
different
it
ways.
is allowed in limousines by state law,
Yeah.
and we govern that, but we can't supersede state law. In other words, we can't say state law is 7% sales tax, we can't say on Block Island it's 10%.
So you had a question to me, how am I supposed to control or regulate the customers?
This is just me personally, because it's, having a number of alcohol licenses, it's a
Correct.
major.
Basically, what I can do is I can put up a piece of paper in the back of the limo as an informative saying you must be over 21 to possess the alcohol. Furthermore, I can get a signed piece of paper from the person renting the limousine saying that either he's responsible or that there'll be no responsibility on me. I will not, obviously, if someone looks under 21, I'm not going to serve them.
Well, that's the whole thing, is that you're the one that's responsible to make sure they're 21 or older.
Yes.
You have to ID them, just like bartender.
I don't think that's the rules on the mainland. I don't think,
Actually, it is the rule. It's the rule for any alcoholic beverage. If you're granted, you're not serving it, but you have to make sure they're 21. So that means, to me, that interpretation is you got to make sure they're over 21 or 21 or over.
all right, well, they don't card everybody getting in a limousine on the mainland. Were you carded when you got into a limousine?
Do I look like I'm?
I don't know. The world changes now. I mean, and I don't know when the last time you were in a limousine.
My son's way.
Okay. The point is, there's people walking around town with alcoholic beverages everywhere. You have a lot bigger problem than just in an enclosed car.
I'm arguing that, but
Yeah.
that's not the point of what this is.
If you would like me to card people, I can go through the card, the class that reads IDs, just like I did when I was a bouncer, and I could card everybody if you wanted to. It's all prearranged, but I have to do it through a photocopy because half the time I'm not seeing these people at first before I do it.
Right.
Or I can do it right then and there when they get in the cab, if they have their license. Because most of them are dressed in wedding attire and they don't carry anything on them. They don't even have a wallet on them. So that's the issue I'm gonna have.
Sounds like we've got some issues.
Right.
I mean,
I don't think it's a major issue.
It's, this is just for my own application. I would be much happier if whoever's, it's not my opinion, but if I were in charge of the limo, I would make sure they sign an affidavit.
Well, that's one of the things I would like to do is have an affidavit signature. And every time someone rents that vehicle, we have the affidavit that they signed, and that's just gonna be part of it. I have to come up with that literature, which shouldn't be a problem. That's not a big deal. I was planning on doing that anyway, just for liability purposes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm concerned with.
Believe me, I have the same concerns. I mean, the last thing I want to do is, first of all, I don't want anybody getting wasted in the back of my car. I don't want people, just getting drunk and falling out of the car. I want somebody to have a nice time. They're there for a wedding or a bachelor party. They're there they're not there for the drinks. They're there for a custom ride tailored to them the way they want it. Hopefully it's not going to turn into some kind of booze cruise, which I don't want. I don't want that, if I wanted that, I'd go for a party bus, but that's not the model I want. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's gonna be up to you, according to general law and everything, if you can do it.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Of course, let me just say something, Seth. I'm worried about the beverages coming out of the taxi, as we all are in the taxi, not the taxi's limo. Other than that, I don't want to see them outside on the streets,
I can regulate alcohol coming out of the
As you-
vehicle.
as
Because
As you have
the
to.
vehicle with an open container.
That is correct, because then that puts them in jeopardy, and that also
That's
kind
all.
of looks bad
I
on
don't
me
need to
too.
see it outside the taxi at all. We
No.
shouldn't be promoting alcohol, drinking,
Unless we're exiting on private property,
if you're what?
exiting on private property.
Sure, you do.
That's different. So if I'm dropping off at the Spring House and they have an alcoholic beverage in their hand, technically
That should probably be on your signature sheet too.
I mean, most places I drop are gonna be on private areas, because I'm not allowed to pick up and drop anywhere else, really. This license is very regulated. Where I can pick up, where I can drop, you know, I'm not allowed to drop on the street or pick up on the street. So anywhere on town areas, it's tough to do.
If they request to pick up on the street though, you can pick them up on the street.
Uh,
Yeah, sure, absolutely. That's what customer requests.
And that's gonna tie up and make a lot of congestion problems.
But-
Because I mean, even with taxis stopping in the middle of the street,
Sure.
it's really kind of a no-no in the middle of the summer.
Sure.
Because you're creating a blockage of traffic,
I
which
agree
is,
100%, but if
pain in
the
the butt.
customer wants to pick up at the historical society, you're not gonna say no.
no, but I'm gonna pull over on the side of the road. You're
Right.
right. That is more of
Right.
a town area.
Sure.
Yeah, that's.
That's
I-
what I'm getting at.
yeah.
You know, and but I don't wanna see them out there waiting for the limo with their beverages outside either.
No, I don't want
So-
that either. No,
Just
that's not
instead
right.
of Opening up a can of worms going, oh, you guys, this is state law, it's allowed. There's a little bit of grayness involved.
But
And
if we-
enforcement too.
Yeah, no, I agree. But if we pick up from Champlin's and want to drop them off at, say, you know, the National, and we pull into their driveway, and it's okay, you
Yeah.
know?
So we're gonna be opening up a can of worms. When people get into Seth's limousine or Rich's limousine with open containers, they're gonna wanna get into the taxis right behind them. with-
Well, hopefully they won't be open when they get in.
Sure.
Well,
Yeah.
You know, again, this is something where you will have a choice, but I mean, you asked me what had happened to me in the past, and you never got in with open containers.
No,
anywhere.
no.
Okay, and you could probably make that part of the form they have to sign too, you know,
I
that's up
think,
to you.
I think I will. I kind of like that idea. I'd rather have them just, if they're gonna drink in the car.
But, yeah.
Yeah, and I do have a garbage can in the car, so that way when they exit, they can empty all their stuff, and I have a place they can dump out liquids and all that stuff, so it's
Yeah.
not a big deal.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't see it, the better.
Yeah.
Truly, I mean, it's.
Well, just for, someone gets out of the limo with a beer in their hand, someone's walking on the street,
Yeah.
that's saying it's okay.
Yes, exactly. And we have enough problems with
That
that.
already.
Yeah, we do, definitely.
Because it's not in a little red cup
Maybe
either.
more of an issue if we don't nip that. in the
Right.
bud.
All right.
So,
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, I just have a question, the underage thing, just because they sign something that says they're not gonna be underage, then there's no checks and balances? I mean, what takes away?
I
the
think what's said-
responsibility
what's
from
said-
Seth, but-
Well, I think it takes the person ready is part of their responsibility, but if there's someone obviously underage,
It's hard
you're
to
gonna
get-
have to card.
it's hard
I
to
don't think you're
tell,
gonna get a whole lot of
honestly.
extra.
I don't think
underage
you get a lot of
people
kickback on that.
To
but-
go drinking in the car. You never know, but,
Yeah.
something to keep an eye on.
I mean, if this were 4th of July, wanting to get a limo, go to the beach, probably not gonna happen, but, you know. All right. Next is discuss on act on courtesy vehicle regulations. That was one of our questions to the lawyer. This is gonna have to be postponed to a future meeting, but, the question was, are courtesy vehicle requirements, are there courtesy vehicle requirements and regulations at state level? If not, can the town create and regulate requirements at the town level? And the response was, I have a call into the PUC, will provide more information after that discussion.
That was number one,
Sorry, what is that?
first sheet. So our hands are tied.
Our hands are tied until we get a response. That's the bottom line.
I'll keep
Yeah.
going.
Yes, Christine.
Sorry,
They're just spaced out on that. So what you're saying is that the motor vehicle for hire group does not have jurisdictions over regulating these
We're not.
shuttles? You're not saying
We're
that?
saying that we asked the town lawyer, what are the regulations, if any, on the mainland, and can we regulate them locally? He has communicated with the PUC and is waiting for a response.
Oh, that's good. Okay. Yeah, because I mean, obviously you should be able to. You can regulate the heck out of every little thing about taxis. Why
Right.
can't you do it for these shuttles?
That's specific legislation driven for New Shore, okay?
Mhm.
From the early 1900s. And I don't think courtesy vehicle is part of that. Now, maybe it's rolled into it, but we don't know the answer.
Well, I'm glad that you're pursuing it because the taxis, were asked to
I-
contribute to a fund to fight this. And I don't think that it should be our role. We look to you to do it. So I hope that you will pursue it.
We are.
Yeah, it's
It's
been.
an active,
every
Active
month
problem,
for
yeah.
2 years now.
And I still think, you know, where it says any motor vehicle on the roads of the town of New Shoreham that take compensation directly or indirectly, we are allowed to govern that.
I
I
won't,
mean, tips, they're getting paid. Champlain's is charging for the shuttle.
yeah, but they had a specific response to Champlin once, because the Champlin's question related around the fact that this is a charge, a resort fee that included that. And if it involves more than that item on there, it's allowed, okay?
Right,
got-
it's
per
in
se.
the fact.
And it's not specifically a courtesy vehicle charge. It's a Champlin's resort fee that also happens to include a shuttle service.
But that's the same.
No, it's not. That's specifically, the lawyer, read the
Right here.
response on there, okay?
Is it
So-
here?
Yeah, this is the response.
Okay.
So, anyway, regardless, what we're saying right now is we're waiting for the lawyer to get back to us on whether we can regulate. So that's the next thing on the agenda, or waiting for us. Okay, and there's no need to discuss and act on limousine regulations and rates, because we're forwarding that on.
The rates had been changed, I noticed, in 2016.
The $100.
The limousine to 100.
Yes.
Does Seth know that?
I've never got a copy.
Yeah, so on the next rate sheet, we should include that limousine.
That's a minimum charge.
That's the minimum.
One thing that I should have said earlier, we were discussing that to have charter bus regulations discussed too. That didn't make the agenda.
And I did send a draft out. If there was anything else I missed.
Yeah, my mistake. Just one of those things, so.
Charter bus regulations?
Regulations and fees, minimum rates for charter bus, because that's not included in any other rate sheets or on any literature.
I don't, yeah, because right now, I'm seeing how well Interstate does their charters. So, and it's obviously a bus full of people coming off the ferry. I don't know how they have a license, but we don't regulate that charter bus, as far as I know, rate
We
wise at
regulate
all.
the license,
Huh?
same, we regulate the license, same as the taxi and the limos.
Right, but this is a charter bus.
Yeah,
so-
I don't think they have in the past ever had any rates set
No,
for charter buses.
There hasn't been.
There was, and then there was a point in time when the limousine rate was,
50.
50.
yes, but also was market rate. So, and then changed again. So there has been some history of limousines being regulated, whether you choose, you can make that unlimited, you can make it market rate, or you can, change that rate. That's something you can discuss at the next meeting.
Yeah, but just one of those things, because it's we are in charge of that. I'm not sure if we should be setting rates and stuff like that for charter buses and with limos and taxis, anything we do.
I guess that's a valid question. We also don't have any regulations and or ordinances specifically related to charter buses, which would have to be created.
Not yet.
That's yes. I will say that's an extremely long and drawn out process.
Sure.
Considering how long it was we operated with ordinances only and no taxi regulations
Yeah.
for probably 50 years. Okay. And it took multiple years just to get that down. So,
We're still doing it.
huh?
And we're still.
well, but we have it in place
Yeah.
now, okay, whereas before we did not. And in the case of charter buses, there is nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, I brought my whole cup of espresso, so that's why I'm up here a lot. I'm just drinking coffee and talking. I just have a question about, do you guys realize that there's a little bit of a hole, but I don't think we can do anything about it, but you know that charter buses come over from the mainland with full groups of people and do tours on Block Island. So,
They bring buses over?
yeah. Do they? Yeah, it's called, like, I took the name down or whatever. So that might be a hole in there, because the regulations have to evolve over time. I mean, as you said, you put it well, that we didn't have regulations forever, and now we have this modern time. So it's like a growing pain. So I totally understand that. Just going back to the other thing is that, did the motor vehicle for hire, this is my, I haven't gone to meetings, so I'm sorry if I asked a stupid question, but did you ever send a letter to the town council asking them to look into regulating these shuttles? Did you actually send a letter to them? Okay.
It comes back to us.
And it comes back to
I
you?
mean, they've got a lot on their plate, so this is not something they're wanting to, we're supposed to be the advisory commission.
Yeah, it's really sad that's. the
They
case.
realize that there's an issue with it.
Yeah.
I've talked to a number of the council, okay? But they can't just step in and do it. I really didn't know they brought a charter bus over here.
It happened.
God forbid
Multiple times.
what the cost on that would be.
It's like
22 passenger. Yeah, tour Rhode Island. I've seen it a couple times.
It's just they go from out different packets and send it over.
Is the tour Rhode Island one of the ones kind of part of the state?
I don't know. I don't know.
But there's nothing to say that other people can't do it. We have loads of people with reservations on the boat.
I think the PUC would have something to say about trying to stop them from doing it.
Yeah.
Right, it's,
Okay, that would be restraint.
it
I don't
is
know how to
allowed in
phrase
here.
but-
It even mentions it in our regulations. About buses coming over it. There's actually supposedly a fee to those mainland buses.
I
You'd be
don't,
charged.
not by us, not by us.
Right, on town, I think.
I don't know if the town actually
Seth,
charges
I couldn't
that.
hear you.
As long as a charter bus service or limousine or any other, approved service by the state is coming out of Rhode Island, they can get on the ferry and come over here and conduct their business and then go back, as long as they're not picking up and originating from here. So legally, they're allowed to do that, and you guys set up a fee so they can pay the town a certain fee to be able to do their tour or charter or whatever they're doing.
It's something to look into, but yeah, okay. It's a good idea.
Yeah, sorry to bring up the charter buses and stuff like that, but I think we should be continuing the discussion on that.
Yeah.
While we're discussing all this too. Could I have that added to the next agenda? More just, yeah, so I got off point here, sorry.
Because I have a funny feeling what Seth is saying, right, is if someone has a business on the mainland and part of their tour is coming to Block Island, and that's got nothing to do with the island, not picking up people here or anything else, we have nothing to say about that at all.
Correct.
And the subject, okay, and trying to get, I don't know that we can charge, that goes into the interstate thing, but I don't know that the town can charge a fee for that bus coming over here in addition to interstate, because it would make it interstate's problem to probably charge that fee, and I don't think that they're gonna do
I
that.
would agree.
That the town gets specifically, other than the,
I did read that also. I can't not,
A fee that needs to be paid to the town.
I cannot find it, I'm sorry. Did see it, Jesus, I'm sorry.
so you put this on a future agenda, charter bus questions, okay? This is not on there right now. All right, think we're done? Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, everyone. It's nice having an audience.